Thank you very much. I've been told that I'm not allowed to complain about the microphone size because I'm the anomaly, not everybody else, right? But no, thanks for the kind introduction, and it's really nice to be here on the Gold Coast again, presenting the Bellevue story. I think what you'll see during my presentation is, this is going to be the last time that we're presenting at the RRS as a development company, because next time we're here, we'll be here as a gold producer, which is a super exciting time for the company. There's the disclaimers. So as Hedley said, we have an asset of real size, scale and quality, which is located in the northern goldfields of Western Australia. It has tier 1 characteristics, it has, as I said, grade, it has scale, and most importantly, it has duration. 10 years of mine life in this day and age is a pretty important place to be, and we have it from the jump, which is exciting. If I talk you through the metrics, it's 200,000 ounce per annum producer. When we get it up and running, 10-year mine life, we've got a 3.1 million ounce resource at 10 grams per tonne. We've got a 1.34 million ounce reserve at 6 grams per tonne. We'll be a lowest quartile all-in sustaining costs of $1,000 to $1,100 Australian. We will be, we put out a study last year which showed a cash flow of $2.1 billion and free cash flow of $250 million per annum, and that's at a $2,500 gold price compared to the $3,000 that it is right now. So, I think Paul Keating said it famously, it's just a beautiful set of numbers. So the story for us now really is developing the mine. We've been underground mining for almost 3 years now. We've got all our key contracts in place. We're building the mine on the runway to first production in just a few months' time. We've built the team up at Bellevue. We have a real bunch of A-graders that are really motivated within the team, and tier 1 contractors that we've hand-selected to come work at the mine, including Bill Beeman at Develop, who does our underground mining, who you heard from yesterday. So look, what I can say to you is that everything at a site level is going really well. The plant construction is advancing really well. We have GR Engineering in building the plant, and they're the experts at this type of thing. It's a 1 million tonne per annum CIL plant, so nothing different from usual. The mine development is going ahead of schedule, so that allows us to get to more working areas, have more stoping levels open, and build a better, more flexible and resilient mine. We started to drill from underground quite extensively, so we're doing grade control. The guys are averaging 65 metres a shift, which is about double what industry gets, and we're getting some great results back from that. We are really just turning the tap on for exploration from underground, and I think that is going to be a key part of the Bellevue story going forward, is not just getting into production, but also exploring from the underground platforms that we're creating. We have $234 million of available liquidity, and we're firmly on track for production in the second half of this year. Well, I'll talk just a little bit about ESG and how Bellevue's using it as a competitive advantage. It is something that the company has focused on to really come out of the blocks with tier 1 ESG credentials. Your typical way of being an explorer or a developer is to just take the path of least resistance through to production and then worry about that sort of stuff later. We've tried to say, look, this is a high quality project and we can do things properly from the outset. So the big driver of that is a big renewable energy power station that we're putting in. We can put one of those in because of the duration of the asset, and that allows us to target net zero gold production by 2026, which is well ahead of the market. We have really strong community relations with the Chual people, who we have a native title agreement with. And one of the tangible benefits of this ESG focus is our ability to recruit people. So I think I heard in Bill's speech yesterday, he was saying that Develop's the only resources company on the ASX that didn't have a people problem. I actually disagree with you there, Bill, because we don't either, mate. So look, I'll jump into the 3D. I've got a 3D platform that I can present off and give you an idea of sort of where Bellevue sits and why it's still there. So we're in the northern goldfields of Western Australia in the Agnew-Wiluna Greenstone Belt. It's a prolific gold mining district. All the majors have been there, so Agnew and Lawlers to the south, Darlot, their Barrick assets and Goldfields assets, Bronzewing and Jundee up to the north, ex-Newmont, now Northern Star assets. And we're in a pretty exciting spot right in the middle of it. You can see here in this little triangle that we've got the Bellevue Gold Development Project, IGO's Cosmos Nickel Development Project, and the world-class Liontown Lithium Project, all within a 15-kilometre radius of where we sit. So I'd argue that it's the most exciting address globally for development projects right now. Zooming in on our site where you can sort of see it, it was an existing underground mine back from the late 80s through to the late 90s. They mined one lens, which was a subvertical lens, which sort of goes through the middle here, and pulled out 800,000 ounces at about 13 grams per tonne back in those days. The geological interpretation at the time was that there was a fault to the south here that cut off the ore body. They couldn't find it, so they shut the mine down, they fully rehabbed it and walked away from it. Pretty soon after that, you can see in the top right here, this is the Cosmos operation. So this was the #1 nickel mine in WA back in the noughties, and mined by Jubilee and bought out by Xstrata. Back in those days, the whole tenement package was tied together. It was positive water, so they just used Bellevue as a water depository for Cosmos and didn't do any gold exploration there for 20 years, even though it was a 13-gram mine. Using modern exploration techniques in the new Bellevue shell back in 2017, a new geological model was thought of it using a lot of modern geophysical techniques like downhole electromagnetics. They actually discovered that it wasn't cut off. In fact, there were multiple parallel lodes there. First discovered a parallel hanging wall shear called Tribune, which sits here. South and north extents to Bellevue. Cross-cutting flat lodes, and then undercover there is a significant footwall lode there called Deacon, which doesn't daylight at surface, which was found through downhole electromagnetics. To get a real good perspective of that, you can see it in 3D here. It's not deep. It's only sort of defined to 500, 600 metres below surface, but it's quite laterally extensive. So it goes off, over 2.8 kilometres, and you can sort of see the layout of it there if I spin it around, where you can see the hanging wall Tribune, south and north Bellevue, flat dipping Viago, which sits in here, and then this virgin Deacon lode in the footwall. And we're really confident in that ore body, and really confident in that development plan, because we've done the work and we've done the drilling to really define it. So there's over 600 kilometres of underground diamond core drilling. This isn't RC drilling, this is all diamond drilling that really defines that ore body. And when you look at it in long section like this, what you can see is that the mine corridor is actually very well drilled out, but there's not a lot of drilling that's been done outside of this mine corridor, which we'll be able to do when we establish the underground exploration platforms. Again, this is the layout in a simple 2D, and I'll take you through some of the main exploration targets here, because I think exploration will be a huge part of Bellevue's future once we get these underground drilling platforms and the cash from production to spend on exploration. But you have your subvertical hanging wall lodes, your subvertical main Bellevue lode with your connecting flat lodes, and then this is the Deacon, which is about a 1.5 million ounce structure, which sits untouched in the footwall that we're developing out to now, and we'll have access to in the next quarter with development. Now, when you think about the exploration targets, it's pretty simple to see that there could be some connecting horizontal structures, but also further footwall structures out there. This bottom footwall structure, we've actually drilled this with 1.2 kilometre holes from surface. As a junior explorer, junior developer, drilling lots of 1.2 kilometre holes is a good way to go broke. So it was just defined over a sort of 300 metre strike. There are grade hits down there following up downhole electromagnetic plates. But over the next 12 months, we'll be developing down into this Deacon area, and we'll put ourselves in a position where we can drill it out with 300 to 400 metre long holes. So getting down there and getting that drilling done is a huge priority for us. Putting it back into long section, I think you can really see where some of that growth can come from. The blue and the yellow there, the blue is the indicated resources, the yellow is the inferred, which we can convert with better drill platforms. We have the large structure, which actually takes up almost the entire 3 kilometre strike that we can target from underground. But we also have grade hits to the north up at Lucknow, and a significant exploration target to the south, which has not been drilled from surface, and we can drill it from underground. So lots of places to expand and lots of places to grow that already very impressive 3.1 million ounce structure. Look, the next part of the Bellevue journey is the mining. So we've done extensive underground development now to really set up the infrastructure properly in this mine. Why I like it from this sort of oblique view is you can see that we're targeting opening up multiple work areas all at once. We have a central infrastructure corridor and we are, in 1, 2, 3, and 4 spots now, 300 metres below surface in all of those spots, and ready to just branch out, get into the ore body, and expand it, put ore on the ROM pad prior to production starting soon. Now, going into FY24, this is what we'll mine over the next 12 months. You can really see the mine starting to take shape here of the different work areas that we've got. Have a look at the drill hits that are on there. They're very good grade, very good widths as well, not all narrow vein. And when you go forward to what we're planning to mine in FY25, and you look at it in this oblique view, what you can really see, we've got a 1 million tonne per annum processing facility. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different work areas that we're building that we can then use to fill that processing plant. So, if we were just chasing one ore load, trying to get down to the centre of the earth and doing lots of vertical metres of advance over a year, that's tough to do. But when you have 5 separate, well-established work areas from the jump, that's how you can go, from 0 to 200,000 ounces per annum pretty quickly. This is the fully designed out 10-year mine life, which is certainly an envious thing to have. But look, the other thing about being underground is that we understand the ground conditions really well. So good ground conditions, just bolts and mesh, very hard, very competent ground. We've established significant infrastructure, so independent ventilation systems, independent tag boards for the different work areas, which allows you to get your productivity. We have a good mining contractor in place, so we have Develop Global in there, and they have recruited a fantastic team. They're doing a fantastic job. We've ramped up without incident, so we're hitting all our quality standards, hitting all our safety standards, and hitting all our productivity standards at the same time, which is amazing on a startup job. Good ore bodies, when you get underground and drill them, they get better. What you can see here is this has gone from being drilled from surface at 40 by 40 to being drilled from underground at 20 by 10. And in just this small area called the Upper Armand, the grade stayed a little bit the same, but we actually had plus 17%, so 17% extra ounces in that area that we can develop using the same capital infrastructure. We do have 2 drill rigs underground doing grade control at the moment. As I mentioned before, we put this announcement out about 2 weeks ago with some of the grade control intercepts that we're getting, and there's some pretty envious hits in there. And what's important is that these aren't areas of the mine that we're going to be mining in 5 years plus. These are all areas of the mine that we're going to be mining in the next couple of years. So, importantly, we're not just crossing our fingers and hoping that the gold's going to be there when we get there. We actually have the high quality data to back up our production targets. As I said before, when we drilled it, we found extra. This is what the extra looks like. We're into the ore drives. The ore's very visible. It's high pyrrhotite, quartz hosted. And when you go into those levels, what you see in the red boxes there are the additional lodes that we found through the tighter space drilling, which allowed us to pull more ounces in that were outside of those original resources and reserves. What this means is we'll deplete our reserves slower and extend that mine life. The next big stage for us is finishing the build of the processing plant. The processing plant is real, it's happening. We show pictures of it in our presentations and our releases all the time just to show the significant advance that GRs are making. We've built the capacity for growth into this processing plant, so we're pretty confident we can push it to 1.2 million tonne per annum without any extra capital or any loss in recovery, and with a small upgrade we can push it to 1.5, which is pretty impressive, and as you can see from the different work areas underground, we're confident that we'll be able to fill it at a higher rate too. But I think that this brings us to the investment thesis for Bellevue, is that we are a company that is at a real inflection point. You have a look at that, the world famous Lassonde curve, which you see in the bottom corner there. When you're an explorer and you're putting out good drill results, your share price goes up, you hit the trigger to go into development, and you go into no man's land for a little while. And we feel like we've been in there for the last couple of years, but we're hitting this bottom inflection point right now where we're on the verge of going from developer into producer at a time when the gold price is high, the macro environment for gold is very strong, and people are screaming out for a high quality gold mining company, and we're on that verge of being transitioning from being valued from a PNAV discount as a developer into cash flow multiples as a producer, and with a quality asset like Bellevue, those cash flow multiples are going to be significant. That's my time. Thank you.